you know things are going really well because guess what? We're moving our THAAD launchers away from South Korea. All THAAD batteries assigned to U.S. forces in Korea have been withdrawn from the Korean Peninsula and have been redeployed to the Middle East. Now, having said that, and I talked about this the other day, I said that they were probably going to start deploying their THAAD missile, like anti-missile defense systems away from places that they have them. Yes, all of them. All of them. The U.S. Department of Defense has begun relocating air defense systems, including the MIM-104 Patriot surface-to-air missile and terminal high-altitude area defense THAAD batteries with the U.S. Army from Osan Air Base and other sites in South Korea and the Middle East. Now, they're doing that because they've depleted their THAAD batteries. They've depleted them. Iran has successfully depleted their shit, and we don't have anything else. Now, why is that significant? Well, the South Korean leadership literally has no say in this. Remember the withdrawal that the American military had from the Gulf region? America is not just showing that they're a paper tiger here against Iran, but they're basically telling other countries that we have given security guarantees to, you're on your own. Do you understand? It's just Israel, Israel high and nothing else. In an effort to defend Israel, we are withdrawing our defenses from all of these other security cooperative agreements that we potentially had with places like South Korea. These are long-standing security arrangements that we have, right? For years and years, we have talked about how scary North Korea is. Yeah, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung said he cannot stop the U.S. from redeploying some weapons based in his country to the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. As reports emerge, U.S. Patriot missile systems are being sent to the Middle East. He just straight up came out and was like, I can't stop them. He also, amidst this back and forth, because I suspect that they literally told him ahead of time, if you recall last week, he reached out to North Korea ahead of time. The South Korean president straight up reached out to North Korea a week and a half ago, right as the Israel-American war on Iran was beginning. Why did they do that? Why do you think they did that? Because they know they're shit out of luck, because American security doesn't mean shit when push comes to shove. Let's see what the North Korean response is going to be. The DPRK also released a response. North Korea's Kim Yo-jong issued a statement today, hours after reports of relocation of THAAD missile defense systems from South Korea to the Middle East. On March 9th, the U.S. and South Korea fully launched a large-scale joint military exercise, Freedom Shield. More than 18,000 troops are participating, conducting around-the-clock exercises for over 10 days around ground, sea, air, space, and cyber. This exercise is clearly a rehearsal for a provocation war of aggression plotted against our state, not a military game. The reckless and brutal provocations of international rogues are causing the rapid collapse of the global security architecture, with wars raging everywhere. At this grave moment, the U.S. Republic of Korea war exercise will only bring about results that further destabilize the region. Recent global geopolitical crises and complex international events prove there is no distinction between defense and offense, exercise and actual combat, in all military provocations of hostile state field forces. One must suppress that enemy through an extraordinary, overwhelming, preemptive offensive of superior force, not through proportional or head-on reactive responses. Our head of state has already made clear the most powerful offensive capability is the most reliable deterrent. This is an indisputable law and philosophy. The enemy must not test our patience, our will, and our capabilities. They will, by force, cause the Republic of Korea to engage diplomatically with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Once the paper tiger has been revealed to not have the power to engage in force projection everywhere around the world, all of a sudden, all of the foreign adversaries that have been forced into these cooperative agreements with one another, like for the DPRK, obviously there's like historical significance in partnerships and allegiances, like military allegiances with like Russia from the USSR, and certainly with China as well, right? But like, why would Iran know anything about North Korea? Okay, think. Why would Iran have any investment in dealing with North Korea at all? Why would Iran have any investment in dealing with China at all? Why would Iran have any investment in dealing with Russia at all? As a matter of fact, historically speaking, they've always been more favorable to the West. So why? Why is Iran now playing a pivotal role in the adversary structure that is being designed around the globe? It's because we forced them. That's it. We forced their hands. When you get pushed by the United States of America, when the United States of America keeps showing its hand over and over again whether it be economic pressure that they apply through sanctions, whether it be economic pressure that they apply through the SWIFT banking system, whether they can like devalue your currency aggressively and destroy your economy by sanctions and also currency manipulation. America has shown time and time again that you need to have a separate security cooperative agreement with the countries that are in the periphery. And that's precisely what happened. That is precisely what's been happening. It shows utter weakness too to the security, to the allies. It shows utter weakness that we're telling South Korea, sorry, you're on your phone actually, after years and years of like posturing militarily, doing these like joint exercises, training your military, giving you all the latest weapons that you're dumping a shitload of money into. We're taking those weapons back. Isn't that crazy? It shows the rest of the world that all of the weapons that you own currently are not yours, okay? The weapons that are deployed on the military bases that you pay for with your tax dollars that are technically American military bases are not unconditionally in the interest of defending your soil. They're actually just sitting there as a force projection capacity. In a force projection capacity, they're not invested in actually defending your land at all. There's only one country that America will unconditionally defend, at least for the time being. And the day might come where that unconditional defense structure changes as well. That country is Israel. Israel! That's the only country that gets unconditional defense. As you can see, America is literally pulling their assets to defend Israel. They're pulling their assets from the region, the Gulf, to defend Israel. They're pulling their assets from South Korea to defend Israel. It's insane. And a lot of people are still utterly delusional about the American military might. They're delusional about America's capabilities, and therefore they are not seeing the writing on the wall. Our enemies, on the other hand, our foreign adversaries, on the other hand, are totally tuned into what's going on. The calculation has changed. In the last 10 days, as I said over and over again, in the last 10 days, the calculation for the rest of the world changed dramatically. We are now, in my opinion, officially moving into a real world war. World wars have been fought without official decree. Obviously, it wasn't like people were like, oh, we're in World War I now, or oh, we're in World War II now. I think we are now moving into a very different world, okay? I mean, when you look at the map, you got Ukraine and Russia. Now you got America and Israel directly dealing with Iran. If you cannot comprehend that battle lines are being drawn right now by way of proxies, non-nuclear proxies, or rather nuclear sovereign nations attacking American proxies and America attacking or America defending non-nuclear proxy nations that are being attacked by nuclear great powers, like in Ukraine versus Russia, you kind of begin to realize like there is this friction. There is this real friction that's taking place. Taiwan and China, man, Taiwan and China is not even a part of the equation. Like, I think you guys don't understand. It's more so China and the DPRK and South Korea potentially. You were right, but too early again. What is this? Scoop. White House tells House Republicans to stop talking about mass deportations after White House spent years talking about mass deportations despite the House Republicans begging them not to. Vindication! I told you! Deeply unpopular domestic policies, deeply unpopular foreign policy. This shit's being held together by ticker tape and like utmost confidence in pre-existing American military might. That's literally it. It's a house of cards, man. It's a house of cards. It's built on these lies. It's built on like endless amounts of military expansion against nation states that could not hold their own, right? Oh, we dominated Afghanistan. That was a failure, but it was a failure that came after 20 years. We could hold our own for 20 years, so it was fine. And all of our capitalist pedophiles made money in the process. All of our drug dealers made money in the process with Afghanistan and with Iraq. So it was fine at the end of the day. But it's not fine when you actually have a country that is willing to fight back. That's all it took to tip the scales against American empire. All it took was for one country to say, fuck you, we spent the last 47 years literally waiting for this goddamn moment. And even before that, I mean, Russia's invasion of Ukraine also was the accelerant, right? That was the first step, because For the first time ever, America, by way of a proxy, could not actually stop a foreign country. They were able to stop the full military ambitions and the full military occupation of the entirety of the Ukraine. They stopped Ukraine from turning into Belarus, right? Like a puppet state working in favor of Vladimir Putin. But they weren't able to cause them to retreat with all of the weapons transfers in the entirety of the Western world. They were not able to stop the Russians and push them beyond the eastern Ukrainian territories that they now militarily occupy, where they've hardened their positions. That was also another major step. Government ministries admit for the first time that in Israel there are doubts regarding the toppling of the Iranian regime in the near future. It may take about a year. I mean, this is either them priming. Israeli officials are apparently extending their estimates for when they think the Islamic Republic will fall, in that it will now perhaps take a year, even after the war stops, for conditions to be ripe for the opposition to overthrow the state. Laying the groundwork pretty clearly here for the war to end without the government being overthrown, because progress has not been made on that end, despite continuously killing political and military leaders and bombing RGC installations, Basij bases, and police departments. Great. I mean, that's good. That's not a bad thing. That's literally a good thing, because Israel holds all the, well, they don't hold the cards, but they control whether America actually continues going up the escalation ladder or not. All right, let's continue.
Decisively.
Trump is over here giving mixed signals.
As he and his advisors send conflicting messages about how long the war will last. Over the weekend, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told 60 Minutes.
This is only just the beginning.
And on Monday afternoon, the Department of Defense posted, quote, "We have only just begun to fight." But around the same time, the president told CBS News, "I think the war is very complete, pretty much." And soon thereafter said this.
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. Short-term. Short-term.
While also adding that the U.S. would not relent.
We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough.
Later in the day, he was asked whether the war was just beginning or complete.
Well, I think you could say it both. It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force.
Adding that Iran's leadership is largely gone.
We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
President Trump is also facing scrutiny for a strike near an Iranian elementary school in the first hours of the war that killed more than 170 people, mostly children, according to Iranian officials. The Pentagon says it's investigating.
I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, whatever the...
Yeah, that's my new GOAT at the New York Times, by the way. That dude is awesome. I immediately DM'd him. I was like, dude, keep up the great work. Hopefully they don't kick you out of the press pool, you know? My shit also went viral. My reaction to him went viral. But that was I want that energy from every single journalist, dude. That's what we need. Yeah, look at this. Look at this TikTok.
You
this
just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that.
Oh my God!
Standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you
His
the
name
only
is
person
Sean
saying
McCreesh.
this?
Because I just don't know enough about it.
Oh my God! Who the fuck is this guy?
Something that I was told is under investigation.
It's a ballsy question.
But tomahawks are...
He's about to get tomahawked himself,
others,
dude. They're going to pack him up.
Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
Oh my God, journalists, do that all the time. Oh my God, do that all the time, please. A real shame for all the career reporters that don't ask questions like that, by the way. Yeah, his name is Sean McCreesh. He's a New York Times reporter. He's the White House correspondent for the New York Times, and he absolutely banged with that. Very clear, very deliberate, perfect use of the English language, okay? I love that. I want more of that. I want more of that now. I want more of that yesterday, okay? Straight up, holding his feet to the fire. Just literally being like, why are you the only person in the American government that is now claiming, in spite of your defensive Department of War Secretary's statements, why are the only person that's claiming that, like, this is not an American missile? It's great. His following on Twitter blew up too. Yeah. Jim Acosta used to do that until he got banned. Only journalist that remembers he has free will. Yeah, he was like, wait a minute, I can do this. I have the microphone. I can just ask the president normal questions instead of just like dumb questions and silly questions. I can ask the president a question that he has to directly answer and not weave out of.